I'm not planning for 5 days down the road, 5 months, 5 weeks, 5 years. I'm planning for 500 years. And everybody's appetite for risk is different. The things that I do scare the bejesus out of you. The things I do scare everybody around me. Ironically, my wife is risk averse, but doesn't have a problem with my risks. I mean, I bet $1 million on her wellness center and it's paid out. And we're getting ready to risk another million and grow by 3x. We're going to go from 6,000 square feet to almost 16,000. We're looking at opportunities. But again, I'm weighing those risks based upon does it make me uncomfortable? Sure. But anything that makes me uncomfortable gives me an opportunity to grow.
All right. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be. When either you're watching this or you're listening to this, or better yet, you're doing both. This is your first time here. You have just found the best damn podcast you've ever heard or seen, or maybe even both before in your whole life. We are called Old Guys Still Rock, and we're an episode of, God, I think I'm on 158 today, dude.
That's awesome.
I think that's where we're at today. We were 157 last week. We've had the last couple of weeks have been some pretty phenomenal episodes. So if you haven't seen those, and again, if you're new, just stop right here. You can come back to us. Go back and watch the other 157 episodes and literally watch how this can potentially change your life. And if it's not changing your life, it might possibly help out a friend or family member's life. But again, first time here, I'm Blair Armstrong, a Team Armstrong Co-op banker. I am a global luxury specialist in the world of residential real estate, located here in the beautiful, beautiful Coachella Valley, and possibly on my right, possibly on the left, possibly just dead center right in the middle of your screen is a good friend of mine and the other host of the show, Brent and I of Brent Wright Incorporated. Brent and I have known each other for, gosh darn, almost 30 years now. That's why we're Old Guys Still Rock. We're still talking. But Brent Wright of Brent Wright Incorporated, man with many different hats. Again, if you're returning, you probably have heard this 1,000 times, but share this show for the people that have never seen this before. But from body shops to detail shops, financiers to a state-of-the-art wellness center in Eugene, Oregon called Wright Wellness Center, part of a venture capitalist group who bought a company about a year ago called BustedTees.com. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But from payroll companies to, as I said, to multi-property owners, but the thing how this podcast came to fruition, 157 episodes, now 158. Brent and I went through 75 hard. If you haven't done that, I strongly suggest you do that. And basically do 2 workouts a day amongst other things. But on our second workout, we would talk. We talked for about 45 minutes, sometimes a little bit longer. And we're like, man, we are sharing so much good stuff that needs to be shared with others. So here we are. We have this amazing platform, again, called Old Guys Still Rock. If you haven't done so yet, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. That's enough about what I'm doing. Let's hear what's going on with the world of Brent Wright. What's going on, my dude?
All gas, no brakes.
Amen, man.
All gas, no brakes. I'm telling you, the wellness center is in a growth phase. All the businesses are, I don't want to say hitting on all 8 cylinders, but if you know the analogy, we're on cruise control right now. We are focused on growth and prosperity and just making a difference in all aspects. I talked to you yesterday as I was driving a long distance, early morning, and God's revealing a lot of opportunities for me, and which fits right into our subject today, risk. What is holding you back? That's a big question in my mind. Like, why haven't we pushed this podcast harder? Mm-hmm. Why haven't I pushed my ranch harder? Why haven't I pushed my body shop harder? Why haven't I pushed all the things? My coaching business is flourishing. I'm opening up a couple more spots. I wonder why I've just been not pushing as hard as I feel like I should. And which is why we brought this up. I
Yeah.
think a lot of people ask themselves that same question. You know, one of the questions I want to bring up is, why do people slow down? Why do
I,
they just take comfort over inconvenience?
it's so interesting because when you talked about that, we talked about momentum last week and how, when you get it going, um, you have hurdles. I mean, actually, just go back and watch the momentum episode last week, which spills into this week. So we hit that momentum, and you hit a bunch of things. Ranch is doing good, body shop's doing good, wellness center is doing good. My my coaching business is flourishing. We're still in peaks and valleys with busted tees. There's so many things that are going right for you, right? You said something right there that I want to kind of stop, and I think people picked up on that. We're on cruise control.
Mm-hmm.
It's real nice and easy to be on cruise control. So why mess up the cruise when I'm going, 70 miles an hour on a California highway? I'm on cruise control. Everything's great. The weather's nice. There's no wind, da, da, da. Why push it to go further? And that's where my mindset, easy. Where's the easy button? We keep talking about the easy button. I'm on this cruise control. Everything's good. Why do I want to disrupt this? But it's one of the big things for you that has made you so successful, Brent, which I love about you, that I've absorbed, and you've helped a lot of other people in there. When it starts getting too easy, or it gets easy for a long time, then you start to fail.
Throw a rock in the pond and make a ripple.
Right. And so that's a trigger that you have. Like, okay, it's easy. That means I have more bandwidth for something else. If it becomes easy, I become stagnant. I stop producing. I stop becoming an example. I stop becoming a leader. The ripple effect, not only for your business, but for your clients, for your kids, for your wife. When it gets easy and you just kind of want to take a time out, that's when you have to have that trigger, right? And you taught me this. You have to have this trigger. Time to go again. Time to go again. Find something. As you said, throw a rock in the river and create some ripples, and then figure it out as you go, because God's telling you, like, you've done good, you've done well, my good and faithful servant. Now it's time to go ahead and take it to the next level. I made you to be great with no other expectations. And so that's what I love about you, is like, yeah, I'm pretty cool, man. Nah, I don't like being cool. I want to go further.
Yeah.
When you called me yesterday, dude, I was jacked. I'm like, let's go, man.
Yeah. Island Peach. It was an Island Peach moment. So, I'm sitting in a meeting yesterday with an advertiser for the wellness center, and he looks at me after we're bantering back and forth, and he looks at me and he goes, "I just realized this. You don't need to do any of this. Why do you do this?" And I said, "Because cruise control is uncomfortable. I'm
Yeah.
on adaptive cruise." So
Yeah.
as I'm driving yesterday, I don't know if you guys have this in your car, but it's adaptive cruise. And it slows you down and speeds you up based upon what's in front of you. So in essence, it is using the speed of the other vehicle to slow you down or speed you up. So that way you maintain a safe distance from the other vehicle. And I think that's what happens a lot of times with people, is they put their life on adaptive cruise control. Their temperature is dependent upon the temperature of the people around them. Right? I don't want to have, no offense to you or anybody else, but your temperature may be too cold for me.
Mm-hmm.
Your temperature may be too hot for me. I have had people tell me that I'm the biggest gambler they've ever met. I don't feel like I gamble.
Right.
I feel like I gamble on sure things, or at least reasonably responsible sure things. But, I bought 2 or 3 houses in the last month. Why did I need to buy those? Why do I need more headaches? My bookkeeper asks me all the time, why do you keep adding stuff? You're just adding more headaches. Because the risk outweighs the reward outweighs the risk. And if you're not willing to risk it, then you're not willing to get the reward.
But also going back to your coaching part of it, what you've been so good at, and again, I always joke about this with you, and people were like, "How's this guy a really good business coach or personal coach? He doesn't have any books out. He has this podcast it's pretty good. It's got 158 episodes as of today. Why do I need to follow this guy?" But so my answer to that is because what he just said, what Brent just said, the reward is better than the risk. Kind of what Ed Milet says. Winning is more fun than fun is fun, right?
Amen. Amen.
Right? Winning is more fun than fun is fun. Thank you, Ed Milet, for that. It's awesome. It was quoted about 3 or 4 years ago. But anyways, but you have realized your purpose. You understand the purpose that God has given you, and you are accepting that role of leadership that I believe everybody has that leadership role, and then this is if they untap it. But you have understood your purpose. You have embraced that purpose. And without you taking that leadership role and trusting in your purpose and trusting in the gift that you've been given, how are you supposed to lead others if you just stay on the adaptive cruise control?
Yeah.
I have to have the cruise control that was set to me. Yes, we talk about faith in this. I have to have this cruise control that was set to me from God. And this is the road that he has given me. And he has not failed me. And so I will continue on this path, and I will trust his judgment. Now, and I think that's amazing about you. But what you do is very hard for a lot of people to understand.
The application
is tough.
It hurts. So there's a song I've been listening to, and I talked about it several episodes ago. It's A Narrow Road. I listen to that every morning. And if I have to give you a visual, the narrow road is kind of like that road on the cartoon where they're kind of winding around the top of the hill, and it's literally like a walking path, and somebody's coming at you, and you have to get really, really close, or one of you is going to fall off the edge, right? Mm-hmm. And so my job is to mitigate risk of falling off that cliff. Can I stay on the narrow road and still not fall off? The answer is always yes. And the reward is definitely more beneficial than the risk. But I'm not talking about uncalculated risk here, or risk to the point of nauseum or defeat. It's more about risk that, like an actuarial, is the risk worth the reward? And for me, it's always pushing that risk. It's always the gray areas where I win. So, looking at an individual house or how it adds to my portfolio, or I'll give you for instance. A friend of mine bought a bunch of gold a number of years ago, and 3 years ago, gold was going down. And he's like, I got to get out before I lose. I said, okay, sell me the gold. He says, you have enough money to do it? I said, nope, but I'll find it. And I found the money, and I bought the gold, I bought the silver, I bought the platinum from him. And bear in mind, this is when gold was around $1,800, and it was starting to get less and less and less, right? So it dropped like $200 in a month down to $1,600. And I said, we agreed on the $1,800 an ounce, and I'll buy it from you for that. And we drove up there, and I picked it up. And what's gold at today? 4,600. He looked at the risk and said, I don't want to lose anymore, so I'll sell it a little bit of a loss so I don't lose anymore. And I looked at the risk, and I said, I'm going to hedge my bet that gold's going to go up. And I hedged the bet, and I won. Doubled. Every house I buy. Do house prices fluctuate? Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think it's important to realize that with every risk you decide, you have to figure out what your timing is. Is my timing today, or is my timing tomorrow? You'll always win betting on timing is tomorrow. very few times will you win betting on timing is today. Everybody that's seeking the quick reward likely will lose. Every day trader I've ever met has more losses than they do wins. But are they in it for the long haul? You know, we're talking about risk here, guys. So risk isn't like jumping out of a perfectly good aircraft,
Right.
right? It's not skydiving. It starts out with simple things like asking for a raise, starting a business, ending a bad relationship, moving to a new city. Just make sure if you're moving to a new city, you don't take the old you with you.
Exactly. Which we see a lot of lately is right in this comment, right? I mean, you're escaping one problem, but you're still taking that problem to the next problem, or to the next city, whatever. You know, I heard you said something and it reminded me of stuff, and I think that's what we've really embraced, especially with this platform that you and I have. And thank you, Jesus, for this. And you know, and we're constantly learning, how do we get better? How do we lead better? What are some of the things that we can pick up that we can go ahead and share with not only our team, but our family or friends, whatever, and to this audience that we have? You said something about risk and reward. And when you talk to successful people, they're like, we're talking about what you deal with, some millionaires, and I think you have a couple billionaires in your coaching thing, right?
Yeah.
And so you'll probably have talked about this. So correct me if I'm wrong. You know, the multimillionaires and billionaires don't look what's 1 year down, 6 months down the road, 1 year down the road. They're really looking at what's 10 years down the road.
Yeah.
But they're having conversation, which is, now here's another good thing that, you know, why do I have a coach? Why should I have a venture capitalist group with different mindsets? Why does Blair have this team? Because there's different parts of me that I don't have, that I surround myself with. And so when we have a situation, we throw it on the table. This is what we have. What would your approach be? What would your approach be? How would you do this? And that's not, let's look what's going to happen 6 months down the road, but let's look how this affects us 10 years down the road, 20 years down the road, 30 years down the road. Now, can we predict that? No. But when you start having different mindsets and different things, that's how people are successful, and not panicking when something crashes. I mean, how many times has a housing market crash for you? I mean, you've been in the housing game for a long time.
4 times.
Right?
And every single time I buy the dip.
Always buy the dip, right?
Always buy the dip. So, you know, on that, you know, the housing thing, the car thing, pick something, it doesn't matter. But you have to make sure that you don't fear failure. You have to make sure that you're not just doing something because it's comfortable. Pay attention to and take into account other people's opinions, but don't hinge your decision on other people's opinions. And then you stated this earlier, the time horizon thinking. That is a key thing. I'm not planning for 5 days down the road, 5 months, 5 weeks, 5 years. I'm planning for 500 years. You know, and everybody's appetite for risk is different. You know, the things that I do scare the bejesus out of you. The things I do scare everybody around me. Ironically, my wife is risk averse, but doesn't have a problem with my risks. I mean, I bet $1 million on her wellness center, and it's paid out. And we're getting ready to risk another $1 million and grow by 3x. We're going to go from 6,000 square feet to almost 16,000. You know, we're looking at opportunities. But again, I'm weighing those risks based upon does it make me uncomfortable? Sure. But anything that makes me uncomfortable gives me an opportunity to grow.
Triggered that. And you said this a couple episodes too, to kind of get some clarity for the people who've just shown up to this. You stated something, I would say about 3 or 4 episodes ago, maybe less, but it seems to have been right around there. You have the mindset that you're going to be Every morning when you wake up, you're broke.
Yep.
And that's your drive, right? And
Mm-hmm.
so I'm broke today. What do I have to do? What do I have to risk to get back to even?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Or go get back to a profit. Excuse me, not even, because you'd be broke if you're even. Um, Gotta change that. You even if you're broke. But with that being said, is that's just your mindset. Those are something you train for. And so people are probably starting to ask questions right now, but okay, yeah, that sounds all fine and dandy. How do I do this? And this is the reason why I always stay at the beginning of this episode. If you're stuck in a loop, if you're having trouble to get to the next level with your business, if you're having a trouble to get to your, to a next level with your relationship and trying to be greater instead of trying the easy button or just bailing out. This is why we have coaches. This is why you come onto this episode. This is why you come on, not this episode, but all the 157 other episodes. Leave us comments. This is where I'm stuck. I need help here. I can't figure this out. The more that you start looking at reality about what people can really happen to you instead of what you see on this large media, that the sky's falling, things are going to end, our political climate, no matter what side I'm on, is failing. When are you going to focus on you, and when are you going to learn to be better so you can go and trade to be better? And that's where Brent is really good with this risk reward. If you're having troubles and like, I want to take the risk, but I'm scared and I don't know how to calculate that risk, this is where you bring in a business coach. This is where you bring in your questions and put it on our YouTube channel or Spotify channel, whatever that may be, because you're never going to get better. You're never going to, or what I want to say, understand the full potential of what you can become if you don't take the risk, and then talk to somebody that has taken the risk and can help you calculate that risk. Did I say that right to you?
Yeah.
Is that what you're helping your guys out? Even your billionaires are coming to you like,
yeah,
I've done well, but I need to get here.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not to have more money.
The billionaires are actually more stuck than the low level guy.
Right.
The low level guy who's just starting a business or starting to grow their business or have been in business for 20 years and want to go to another level, those people are a lot easier to coach. The billionaires are more stuck because they're like, I'm here and I don't know what the next phase looks like. They have no vision. And so we do what's called a risk audit. And a risk audit is super important. I'll go into that into a second. Okay. This is not an ego story, but I do have to give you a little bit of a story. 2 years ago, several of my clients were just starting out in business in almost the worst economic time that we've ever seen. Interest rates are high, inflation is high, spending is down, the stock market's flourishing, gold and silver are flourishing, but there's very few segments that are actually growing right now. We've got all these inputs that are counterintuitive to starting a business or to try to grow a business. And yet, every single one of my coaching clients are flourishing. Now, they're doing the hard work. So what I will tell you is it's not 100% me. I do an interactive approach to coaching. So I'm actively supporting these people. I'm doing accountability check-ins with them even throughout the week. So some of these folks I meet with once a month. Some of them I meet with twice a month. Some of them I meet with once a week. In between, I'm doing accountability checks with them. I'm actively pursuing how to help them and how to get them referrals. I'm actively pursuing how to make a difference in their life, not just when they're in the coaching session. Most coaches, you'll never hear from them in between. I actively want people surrounding me that are flourishing and are trying to take risks and try to weigh the reward versus risk paralysis. It's analysis paralysis. There are several people that have come on and asked questions, and I reach out to them, and they never call me back, and they never respond to the message, and they just don't engage. The risk is just engaging. right? So
Yeah.
even the most simple action. So you took the risk to ask the question, and then you didn't want to talk about it. Why ask the question? So let's do a risk audit.
All right.
I'm going to do this with you.
Okay.
Name a risk that you have.
Right now, my biggest risk is getting the couple of the agents, actually the whole team, up and running to help them achieve in the next
No,
two.
that's a fear. So that's next.
Okay.
What's the risk? The risk is taking on too many people,
Right.
and not being able to support them or afford them, right? That's
Correct.
the risk.
Correct.
Okay.
Yep.
So the fear is what?
The fear, I guess my fear is, well, I mean, there is a risk to doing that, but going back to my fear is to get them, how am I going to assist them? Again, they have to do the work, but how am I going to assist them to produce $25 million in sold real estate a year in the next 2 to 3 years?
So then the next part of it, step 3, is the reality test the fear. What's the actual worst case? That you don't hit 25 million?
That we don't hit 25 million in the next 2 to 3 years.
How likely is that?
Knowing from where I came from, but now what we have around, I would just say it's very unlikely, but it's this goal that we have to chase to get them there.
It's unlikely to hit 25 million? Or it's more likely to hit 25 million?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. I know how hard it is for me. I've got some young bucks that do not have that circle of influence that I do. So I'm not saying that they can't do it, but with the technology that we have and the brain power that we have now, maybe it's easier. I'm in uncharted territories, so I guess that's my fear.
So here's the problem. You're already going down the path of analysis paralysis.
Okay.
It's a simple question. How likely is it?
Highly likely.
The simple answer is it's 60% likely we'll hit it, 40% likely we won't, or it's 51-49, or some version thereof. But it's a simple question, simple answer, and everybody goes into the details, right? So we've talked about OGSM before. Everybody always goes to strategies. It's because it's the easy, sexy part. So stick with the simplest answer is usually the right answer. And then the other part of number 3 is how survivable is it? If you don't hit 25 million, can you still survive?
Absolutely.
Okay. So then number 4, name the cost of not acting.
That's priceless. I mean, it's catastrophic in my world.
Right. So identify the first small step.
That's a great question, man.
The first. Can I answer it? Can I answer it for you?
Please.
Show up every day. Engage. Respond faster. It's all in action.
It's funny that you say that, because I feel, I mean, realistically, we're about a month in when we brought in the last two team members, and I am blessed by these guys because of different aspects that they bring in. But I haven't been this motivated in a long time, because it's been Blair. Now I kind of, I've been asking for this for at least 2 years. I just, need a couple of team members. I really wanted to get bigger. And then I got Giovanna. If you guys follow me on Instagram, we brought in Giovanna. We brought in Jackson Bray, who was a guest with us a couple of weeks ago. We have had David for a while. And I just sat back. I'm like, this is it. This is the diverse personalities, the diverse capabilities, the diverse mindsets, and how they all meld together. And I'm like, okay, now you've got to go. So I have, which is uncommon for me and maybe uncommon for little people, or not little people, a lot of people. I'm here at the office every day.
Yeah.
Every day. Chris is like, why are you going to the office on Sunday? Because I got it. It's time to run, and we're running. It's momentum, and it's not like it's this burden to go there every day. I have to touch it. I have to come back and feel it. I have to be a part of it. If I'm going to lead by example, and if I have to call, if we're going to have a little bit of passion or come to Jesus talks, which every team leader has to have once in a while, a little bit of motivation. When they're coming to me like, this isn't working, well, what are you doing? I'm trying to show you what you do to get here. And so what it actually does for me now, knowing that I have to, in essence, help put food on the table for these guys in so many different ways, whatever they're searching for, whatever they're pursuing, I have to be there to show them it can be done. And eventually they'll take that and they'll pass that down onto their team, so on and so forth. But I think that's been the biggest thing for me today is like, wow, God gave me this gift and better take full advantage of it and run and roll up your sleeves and help these guys get to where they need to get to.
So we're going to go into some rapid fire questions for you.
All right, here we go.
All right, lock in. So is there such thing as too late to take a risk?
No.
Is playing safe actually the riskiest thing you can do?
Yes.
Do guys our age underestimate or overestimate risk?
Overestimate.
Why, on all those three questions, did you answer that way?
Say the first one again.
Is there such thing as too late to take a risk?
No, I think that's been brought to us. There's certain times to retire. There's certain times to do some different things. And I've told you this before. I'm around that world of people like, okay, I've been very successful. I'm done. I don't need to really pursue anymore. I don't want to be those people. So I don't believe, I always go back to the Colonel Sanders theory, right? The guy started a chicken.
50, 60 years old, right?
Yeah, 60 years old. He started chicken business. I actually think he was older. I think he was closer to 70, if not 70.
He was 62, and
62?
he borrowed $5,000 and had not any money in his pocket to start it.
Right. And so second question. So yeah, I just think that people get to this spot that, again, we go back to the cruise control, right? Hey, I've done what I need to do. I'm good. And you could be, and it doesn't have to be in a business sense, but it could be on a board. It could be into a nonprofit, whatever you want to be, but not sharing your talents is catastrophic to me.
Well, and then inadvertently, people will move to your area of the country, right? And surround themselves with people of low temperature, meaning that they're not active, and sit there and watch TV and wait to die. That's a risk, guys. That's a risk I'm not willing to take.
Yeah. I two different things that have come out of this, and we said this at the beginning of this episode, is really understanding your purpose and not taking for granted that you've been given that purpose or you've been giving those gifts that have been given to you and not utilizing them to their fullest capability until it's time for you to go see Jesus. I think it's now, you would have asked me this 10 years ago when my life wasn't the best. You know what? I just want to get to here. And once I get to here, I'm fine. Now I realize this job is not done ever. I just sent you that thing.
You sent me that the other day. That was very impactful because I've heard him say it before, but that interview with Kobe Bryant, tremendous. I mean, they're like, yeah, you're, 4 championships in and you've won 3 games. You're going into the 4th game of the season. And he's like, so?
Yeah.
Job not done.
Yeah. You've got to me with that, again, is leadership. And I think it's so super important. And people may say like, I'm not, that's not my role. Well, that's what you're telling yourself. And we've said this time and time again. Everybody was born to be a leader. There's enough room at the top to be a leader, but how bad do you want to do it? We can tell you how to do it. We can coach you how to do it, but you have to want it. There has to be action with that. We talked about standards as where the standards without actions are meaningless, right?
Yep.
Second question again, please.
So I'll get to that in a second,
Okay.
but it's interesting to me that, and I was evaluating this, why hasn't our podcast like hit 100,000 followers and things like that? I came up with this and see if you agree. I believe it is the reason that we haven't really exploded is because the people that listen to this really actually want to make a difference. And the people that listen to it once and hear all the call outs and all the things that we're telling them to do don't want to take any risk. And they can't align with what we're trying to do because they're comfortable and it's good and it feels good to be comfortable.
I believe that.
And so when somebody listens to this for the first time, they're like, this is great. This is some good information. But you know what? I think I'm just happy where I'm at. And I don't think I'm going to listen again.
Well, let's take that for a second because I get passionate about this, and you and I talk offline about this a lot. When the climate that we have right now, everybody is so quick to the trigger about being keyboard warriors or complaining about different situations. You would not. I was talking to one of our past guests the other day, and he was up at the club, and it's like, we live in one of the most beautiful places in the world. And the amount of complaints because of a couple changes and having that engulf their life is mind-blowing to me. And I said to them, and I go, those are the same people that when you say, well, if you want change, be a part of the board, be a part of the committees, be a part of something. Oh, no, I don't want that type of burden. Then why are you complaining? If you're not going to go out and do anything to make the changes that you seek, why are you sitting there complaining about it? And so that's why you just kind of said that too, right? Is like, they watch us. You have some really good information on there and doing some different things. I get it, but I'm comfortable.
Dude, sorry about that.
That's all right. It's just a little, I thought I was getting timed out there.
No, somebody's hitting me up on Slack. So
okay, but those are the type of things. Those are the things that you want to complain about it, or you have great suggestions about it, or maybe they're not great suggestions about it, but you won't do anything about it. But you engulf your whole life of being miserable about the situation, where you actually, it's okay to be upset about stuff, but go out and make the changes that you seek. Mm-hmm. You say this at the end of every, don't make a damn difference.
Be the change you seek, yeah.
Right? So if you don't like what's going on in the climate politically, whatever it's going on, whatever that you're unhappy about, go do something about it. Get on a committee, start a nonprofit, whatever it's going to be to go ahead and actually do it. Everyone keeps waiting, like, okay, yeah, they're my hero. I really like what they say. And when we're telling you these things, we're giving you the tools to go out and make the changes. Now it's your job to go out there and take those tools to help other people make the changes, so on and so forth. Stop waiting for the white horse to come in and save the problem. The problem starts and ends with you, no matter what your problem is.
Yeah.
So take the stuff that we tell you, not saying that they were right. You can make them that better fit you, but get involved and stop waiting for everybody else to do the hard work. The more people that you have with you, the easier it is to get done. That's my passion. It's more political than it is personal, but whatever.
So let's recap, and I'll give you my final thoughts.
Okay.
Risk is not the enemy, regret is. And this week's challenge, guys, is to write down one risk you've been avoiding and then tell one person about it, about the risk. Accountability starts with saying it out loud, not only to somebody else, but to yourself. And you too could be an old guy that still rocks, but you got to be willing to plug in. And you got to be willing to go out and make a damn difference for you, for your community, for your family. It starts with you guys. That's what I got.
It's good, man. You know, we are an open forum. It's a great thing that not having any sponsors or advertisers, we get to say what we want to say. You can go and voice your opinion every which way you want to say. You can agree with this or disagree with this. That's fine with us, but come with it. If you're going to disagree with this, tell us why you disagree. Or if you're stuck with something, tell us why you're stuck. And then give us, actually, you could, you know, one thing that you've also taught me, and I tell this to the team, and I'm okay with you coming to me with a problem, but you better have at least 3 bullet points of how you think that we should fix a problem.
Yeah. Come with solutions.
Come with solutions.
Problems.
So that's what I have. We did
at least perceive solutions, right? And then we can talk about it.
No, we have. I just gave out I just put together a questionnaire of what's your purpose, what are your standards, and what's your why.
Yeah.
And I gave that to the team this week, and I said, I want you to take a week and really digest this. Just don't fill it out, because that, in essence, will help me lead them in the way that they need to be leaded. Leaded. Yep. I'm so good with English sometimes. It's amazing that I'm here. Anyway, Matt, thank you very much today. Do you have, again, I think those are your final thoughts. I want to make sure that you don't have anything else.
Yeah, no, I think I'm good. Guys, weigh the risk. And if the only risk is regret, take action and move. Don't regret anything. You only have one freaking life. You only have so many summers. Just stop holding yourself back from the greatness that's built up in you.
I have to, and that was so good too, but this question just popped in my mind because we're 158 episodes into this. Do you feel sometimes that we want it more than a lot of other people? For them, not for us, for them.
Every day.
Every day.
And in fact, I ask people that when I coach them sometimes. Why do I want your success more than you want your success? And then we break that down. But they're not everybody's willing to do what I'm willing to do. You're not. And I'm not willing to do what you're doing sometimes.
Yeah, you know, but I know that we've said their final thoughts, and here we go again to it, but I want to say this. Without these conversations that you and I have had for 30 years, yep. I have been a slower progression than you, but I'm still progressing. There's things that I watch over the last 150 episodes as of today. Our conversations are like, okay, time to make an adjustment. Okay, time to make an adjustment. Am I where you're at? Am I going to get where you're at? I don't know. But there's a constant drive to me, like, okay, got to be better today. That standard that was yesterday is now a different standard today. So those are the type of things that these conversations, and that's why we encourage people to leave their comments, is for the reason of is you may not get to where Brent's at, and that's fine because you're the only individual, but at least start your progression. And it may be a different pace. It may be a different vehicle. It may be a different avenue, whatever you want to put those words behind it, but at least progress, at least put one foot in front of the other. It doesn't matter how fast you get there, it's that you actually are on that journey, and that journey never stops. So that's it for me. So guys, we're going to let you out of here. If you haven't done so yet, as I said at the beginning of the episode, I'm telling you right now, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell for whatever platform that you're watching on, if it's iTunes, Spotify, YouTube, iHeartRadio. It's all on our links on Facebook. We're making some changes because we realize it is go time, and we are not going to wait for that white horse. We're going to come on and we're going to pick you up, and we're going to put you on your white horse because you're going to go out and help us build a better community, which we called Old Guys Still Rock. So until we see each other next week, stay safe, but most of all, God bless.